Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology Section A. In our previous session, before the short Diwali vacation, we have completed with the discussion of textual exercise and the additional questions for chapter number 4, Effects of Electric Current. Today we will complete with its textual numericals which are remaining, and then we will start with a new chapter from physics, chapter number 5, heat. So let us begin with the numerical examples. I request all of you to be present with the textbook, and we will refer page number 61. We begin with the numerical examples. Example number 1. Heat energy is being produced in a resistance in a circuit at the rate of 100 watt. The current of 3 ampere is flowing in the circuit. What must be the value of the resistance? Power is given 100 watt. Current I is given as 3 ampere flowing in the circuit. You have to find the value of resistance, means you have to find the value of capital R. There are different ways in which you can solve a numerical example. Scientifically and logically it should be correct with the correct answer. What is given, that we will write first. Power 100 watts. Current I is equal to 3 amperes. You have to find resistance, means capital R. Here I have used the formula P is equal to I square R. That is I multiply by I into R. I can substitute the value of power. I can substitute the value of I, and immediately I can get the value of R. Another way, you have the value of power, you have the value of current. Some children will go by using the formula P is equal to V into I. You have P, you have I, they will get the value of V, and then by using Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. V value you have got, I value is there with you, you can find R. This is another technique, another way of solving the same numerical. Any way you can go ahead, whichever you feel easy. I feel P is equal to I square R is the easiest way. So I have selected that. Substitute the value of P 100. I value is 3 amperes. It is watt, ampere. So same value without conversion you can use. 3 multiply by 3 multiply by R. So 100 is equal to 3 3s are 9R. This 9 if you take over here, it becomes divide by 9. So 100 divided by 9. You will get the recurring value. So 11.11. So while taking as the answer, you can just write resistance is equal to 11 ohms. If you write 11.11 also it is okay, or round off you can just write it resistance is 11 ohms. But while solving, you have to show the value up to 2 decimal places. Next numerical example number B. 2 tungsten bulbs of weightage 100 watt and 60 watt power work on 220 volt potential difference. 2 powers are given. If they are connected in parallel, in 9th standard you have studied about series combination and parallel combination. How much current will flow in the main conductor? You know, in parallel combination you have studied the characteristics last year. Here how you will get the value of current? There are different ways. You can take this as P1, P2, the first power as 100 watts, P2 as the second one, and then you can just add and write P. Here I have just taken it immediately. V is 220 volt, that is potential difference. Total power I have calculated 100 watts plus 60 watts comes out to 160 watt. As I have told you, you can go for P1, P2, then you can show P is equal to P1 plus P2. That way also you can do it. Or just you can calculate total power, because you know that they are connected in parallel. Very simple. You have the value of V, you have got the value of P, you can immediately get the value of current, that is I. So you have to find current. P is equal to V into I. A very simple formula you are going to use. Substitute the value. P is 160. V is 220 multiplied by I. When 160 upon 220 after the calculations, you will get the value of I 8 upon 11. When you divide 8 by 11, your answer will be 0.72 amperes. Where you have to be careful. First, writing the correct formula. Second, you have to be careful while writing the answer. Final answer, when you write, everything is correct. We will assume your given part you have written correctly. Conversions wherever necessary from kilometer to meter and all that you have done correctly. Formula is correct. Substitution is correct. Calculations are correct. But if your final answer is without the unit, unnecessarily you will lose half a mark. And if the paper is a quality paper getting full marks, then the moderator even has the right to deduct 1 mark if unit is not written in the final answer. So there you have to be very careful. Next, example number 3, that is C. Who will spend more electrical energy? 500 watt TV set in 30 minutes or 600 watt heater in 20 minutes? Two electrical devices are ahead of us. One is TV set, one is heater. TV set has consumed 500 watt power in 30 minutes and heater 600 watt in 20 minutes. Let us see who has spent more electrical energy. Now here you have to work the sum in comparison or one below the other as you feel easy. First, you know that here it is watt and minutes. When you want to obtain the electrical energy, you usually get in watt. Watt is given, you get in kilowatt hour. That is 1 unit. So the conversions which are there that I have written here, 1 kilowatt is equal to 1000 watt and 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. As I have told you, you want in kilowatt hour. We have in minutes and watts. So conversions I have written. This is not necessary for you to understand. I have written it. Now I am working in comparison for the TV set. For the heater, you know the formula for electrical energy is power multiplied by time. So electrical energy consumed or used is equal to power into time. Same for the heater. Substitute the values. Now power is given in watt and time is given in minutes. So you have to convert into kilowatt and seconds. So watt, when you have to convert into kilowatt, you have to divide by 1000. Similarly, minutes, when you have to convert into hours, you have to divide by 60. So 500 divided by 1000 multiplied by 30 upon 60. For the heater, 600 divided by 1000 multiplied by 20 upon 60. Now as you wish, you can go ahead with the calculations, the cancellations. So here we get 0.5 into 0.5, which comes out to 0.25 kilowatt hour. Here we get 0.2 kilowatt hour after the cancellations. Now we have to find out who has utilized more electrical energy. So you know mathematically 0.25 is greater than 0.2 and 0.25 is consumed by TV set. So your final answer is hence TV set will spend more electrical energy as compared to heater. If the comparative statement is not given in the form of answer, you will get 50% of the marks. You will be surprised. This is injustice, teacher. When everything is done correctly, formula is used, the substitution is done, the calculations are done, only we have not written who has spent more. That is only the main part of the answer. Look at the sum. Who will spend more electrical energy? So after you are working out, what they require is you have to give the correct answer. Who has consumed more electrical energy, and that answer is very important. So towards the end you have to write which electrical device has consumed more energy. Now we move towards the last numerical example for this chapter. An electric iron of 1100 watts is operated for 2 hours daily. What will be the electrical consumption expenses? Cost is asked. For that, in the month of April, and the electric company charges ₹5 per unit of energy. See, our device is there, that is iron. Power is 1100 watt, and that iron is used for 2 hours daily in the month of April. So you have to first find out how much it works, for how many hours it is working in the month of April. Now here you can get little bit confusion type of sums in the exam. In place of April they can give May, or they can give February and mention it is a leap year. So according to the number of days you have to calculate how much hours that particular device is used. First we will write what is given. Power is 1100 watt. Conversion is required. 1 kilowatt is 1000 watt. So if you have to convert this watt into kilowatt, you have to divide by 1000 as we have done in the previous sum. So you will get 11 upon 10 kilowatt is the power. Time is 2 hours daily, and you have to find the expenses in the month of April. So if 2 hours it is daily, then in the month of April you know there are 30 days. So 2 hours multiplied by 30 days comes out to 60 hours. And in the bracket immediately you have to write month of April has 30 days. When you do this calculation, it is important to write why you have taken 30. If it is May, if it is July, then you have to multiply by 31. In the bracket you have to mention that month of July, month of May has that much number of days. So now you have power, you have time. This is in kilowatt, this is in hours. So you can find out the electrical energy or the units which are consumed in the month of April. Cost per unit is 5. So to find the total expenses, electrical energy consumed is power into time. 11 upon 10 kilowatt multiplied by 60 hours. So this 0 and this 0 will get cancelled. 11 multiplied by 6 comes out to 66 kilowatt hour. So 66 kilowatt hour is the power which is consumed for the month of April. That is 66 units. Kilowatt hour, you know, you have studied in the 9th standard. And per unit how much they are charging? ₹5. So 66 multiplied by 5 will be the total cost. So total cost for the month of April is 66 units multiplied by the cost per unit, that is 5, comes out to ₹330. I hope here the main thing you have to take care of, you can see in sum number C and D, the main part is conversions. You know that you have to find in unit. So compulsorily you have to convert watt into kilowatt, and hours you can keep it as it is. So with the conversions part, be very careful. Now the activities for this chapter I will discuss quickly. Hardly 2 activities are there. If you go through each and every page, all the activities they have removed out from the syllabus due to the pandemic. So the 2 activities which we have to discuss, the first one is use your brain power, page number 48. In the circuit, if in the circuit the resistor is replaced by a motor, in which form will the energy given by the cell get transformed into? Resistor, if it is replaced by a motor, and you know very well electric motor, mechanical energy. So the immediate answer is, if the resistor is replaced by a motor, the energy given by the cell will get transformed into mechanical energy. Very, very simple. Last activity to complete this chapter is find out. The name of the activity is find out. It is on page number 53. The right hand thumb rule is called Maxwell's corkscrew rule. What is the corkscrew rule? Now this is an activity where no answer is given related to this in the textbook. Directly search on the Google net. Hundreds of corkscrew rule you will get. That how you can relate with the right hand thumb rule, that is very important. So the corkscrew rule is, if a right-handed screw be rotated along the wire so that it advances in the direction of current, then the direction in which the thumb rotates gives the direction of the magnetic field. You know about the right hand thumb rule. that the direction of the fingers is the direction of magnetic lines of force and your thumb points in the direction of current. So this, if you search for the corkscrew rule on the Google net, you can write any rule, logically it should be correct. With this we complete with the chapter number 4, that is effects of electric current. We have completed with the explanation, discussion of textual exercise, additional questions, numericals, even the solved examples we had taken up when the explanation of the chapter was going on, and the activities are also over. Now we will begin with the next chapter, that is chapter number 5, heat. Henceforth we will be discussing the explanation of the chapter will be done, question answers will be discussed, additional questions will be given, activities we will do towards the end of the portion. Last 4 chapters, let it get over, and all the activities of remaining 4 chapters we will do it together towards the end. Let us start with chapter number 5, heat. Heat, a very simple term in science, but in lower standards you have studied different concepts related to heat. You have studied the different types of heat transfer, different experiments related to expansion and contraction of solids, liquids, gases. Also you have learnt the difference between heat, temperature, how temperature is measured using a thermometer. All this you have studied in your lower classes. In physics, how you can define heat? Heat is a form of energy that is transferred between systems or objects with different temperatures. Now, in the 10th standard, you are going to study some advanced concepts related to heat. Some concepts like latent heat of phase transformation, that is the transformation from the solid to liquid phase, liquid to the gaseous phase. We are going to study about the anomalous behavior of water, different small terms related to heat like dew point, humidity, specific heat capacity, etc. So we begin with our first concept, that is latent heat. 2 topics you are going to study. One is latent heat of fusion and one is latent heat of vaporization. For this, we need a diagrammatic setup and a graph. If you see in your textbook this part, try this activity, they have removed out from the syllabus, but without this diagram ahead of you, you will not understand the concept. In this, you can see here a glass beaker is taken and a few pieces of ice are taken in that beaker. You have to insert the bulb of the thermometer. You can see this reddish portion, that is the bulb of the thermometer in the ice. Measure its temperature. Put this beaker on the stand and heat the ice by using a burner. Record the temperature using the thermometer after every minute. After every minute, by using this thermometer, you are going to record the temperature. As the ice is heated, it will start melting, from the solid to the liquid phase. Stir the mixture of this ice and water. Continue the heating even after you see that ice starts melting, and also you have to plot a graph of temperature versus time. With the help of this activity, let us understand our first concept, latent heat of fusion. When you start heating this ice with the help of burner, what you will first observe that the temperature of this mixture of ice and water, that temperature it remains 0 degrees Celsius till the ice melts completely. The temperature of the mixture, it remains at 0 degrees Celsius because you all know that the melting point of ice or water is 0 degrees Celsius. If you continue heating even after the conversion of all this ice into water, the temperature of water, it will start rising and it will reach 100 degrees Celsius. You can see here it has reached 100 degree Celsius, and at this temperature water, it will start converting into steam. The temperature of the water, it remains constant at 100 degrees Celsius till all the water converts into steam. Look at the first part. The temperature of the mixture, it was at 0 degrees Celsius till all the ice has melted, and now the temperature of the water, it has remains constant at 100 degrees Celsius till all the water has been converted into steam. And now the graph of temperature versus time is plotted over here. In this graph, what you observe, you can see here this line AB. This line AB of the graph, it represents the conversion of ice into water at a constant temperature. At what temperature? 0 degree Celsius. When the ice is heated, it melts at 0 degree Celsius and gets converted into water at this constant temperature. So what has ice done in this stage? It has absorbed the heat energy from where? With the help of this burner, you are providing the heat energy. So the ice, it absorbs the heat energy during this transition, and the absorption of energy, it continues till all the ice, it gets converted into water. The temperature remains constant during this transition. During this transition of one phase to the other, the temperature will remain constant, and this constant temperature at which the ice converts into water is called the melting point of ice, which is 0 degree Celsius. Now, during the transition of solid phase, that is ice, to the liquid, the object, that is your ice here in this case. Now we are speaking about ice, but it is in general. Any object, it absorbs the heat energy, but temperature does not increase, means temperature remains constant. And this heat energy, it is utilized for what? It is used for weakening the bonds between the atoms or the molecules in the solid phase, that is the ice stage, and transform it into the liquid phase. So our first definition, latent heat of fusion, you will understand here. The heat energy absorbed at a constant temperature during transformation of solid into liquid is called the latent heat of fusion. What we have seen here, when ice was taken, that ice started melting on supply of heat. To get converted from the solid, that is the ice, to the water liquid phase, it has absorbed the heat energy, and that is known as latent heat of fusion. Which heat? The heat energy which is absorbed at the constant temperature. The temperature was 0 degree Celsius. Next is specific latent heat of fusion. The amount of heat energy absorbed at a constant temperature by unit mass of a solid to convert into the liquid phase is called the specific latent heat of fusion. Your entire definition is same, only here you have to mention unit mass of a solid. Now, to understand the next concept, again we have to go to the previous slide. Once all this ice is transformed into water, now continuous heating is going on, so all the ice will get transformed into water. The temperature of water will start rising, and it will increase up to 100 degrees Celsius. You can see here time is given in, temperature is given in degrees Celsius, and here the time is given in minutes. So the water's temperature, it will start increasing up to 100 degrees Celsius. What happens after that? Before that, you will see here, just now I have shown you line BC. This is your line BC. It represents the rise in temperature of water from 0 degrees to 100 degrees Celsius. After that, even though heat energy is supplied to water, its temperature will not rise. It will remain constant. As you have seen in the first case, the temperature remained constant at 0 degrees Celsius till all your ice melted into water. So here also, even if after reaching 100 degrees Celsius, if your supplying the heat energy, the temperature of water will not rise. The heat energy is absorbed by the water at this temperature and used to break the bonds between the molecules of the liquid and will allow the liquid to get converted into the gaseous state. Thus, during the transformation from the liquid, now here it is water, to the gaseous phase, that is the steam, the heat energy is absorbed by the liquid, that is your water, but the temperature does not change. See the first case. Heat energy is absorbed by ice to get converted into water at a constant temperature 0 degrees Celsius. Here also at 100 degrees Celsius, the water is absorbing the heat energy to allow its liquid state to get converted to the gaseous phase, that is the steam, without any change in the temperature. The constant temperature at which the liquid transforms into the gaseous state is called the boiling point of the liquid. Here it is water, and so the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. From this we are going to move towards the next definition, that is latent heat of vaporization. Now liquid is getting converted into vapor. The heat energy absorbed at a constant temperature during transformation of, here it was solid to liquid, here it is liquid into gas, is called latent heat of vaporization. And the amount of heat energy absorbed at a constant temperature by unit mass of a, here it was solid, here it is liquid, to convert into, here it was liquid, here it is gaseous phase, is called specific latent heat of vaporization. I hope you have understood the first concept, that is latent heat. How a substance, whether it is a liquid, whether it is a solid, it absorbs a particular amount of heat energy to get converted from one phase to the other without rise in the temperature at a constant temperature. That is known as latent heat. Whether it is your latent heat of fusion, whether it is latent heat of vaporization. You have a chart in your textbook wherein they have given you the names of the substances, their melting, boiling points, and the specific latent heat of fusion and of vaporization. You don't have to learn anything, you don't have to remember anything, only water, melting point, boiling point you remember, others values you just go through for your information. Now we move towards our next interesting topic of this chapter, regelation. Before explaining you the concept, I will just want to tell you about a phenomenon, not about a phenomenon, a phase which you enjoy when you visit the seashores, when you visit different resorts. The ice ball, मराठीमध्ये गोळा म्हणतो आपण, ice ball, which you enjoy eating it. What does the seller do, the person who sells this ice ball? First, he takes an ice slab. That ice slab is shredded, and then the shredded ice is pressurized around the tip of a stick to prepare the ice ball. I hope all of you have seen it. Then he puts different types of flavors, kala khatta, orange and all. Now, how does the shredded ice convert into the solid ice ball again? If two small pieces of ice are taken and pressed against each other for a while, you will see that they stick to each other. Why does this happen? This phenomenon you are going to study through the term regelation. A small activity here we will have to take. Here a table is taken. You can see here a stand, and a slab of ice is placed on a stand. You can see this slab of ice is placed on the stand. You have to hang two equal weights to the two ends of a metal wire. This is a metallic wire. To the both the ends of this metallic wire, put equal weights and then put the wire on the slab. See how the wire is placed on the slab. As you can see here, what will you observe in this case? Your observations will be the wire, it will gradually penetrate the ice. You will see after some time the wire has started penetrating through the ice. After some time you will see that the wire comes out of the lower surface of the slab. it has started penetrating and the wire has come out from the lower surface of the ice slab, but the ice slab does not break. Normally what should happen when you are taking a scale and you are penetrating the scale through, suppose you take a ball of flour or something which you use dough before preparing a chapati, and if you penetrate with the help of a scale and that scale comes out from the lower end, it will get divided into two pieces. But here the glass slab, it does not break, and this happens due to the phenomenon of regelation. Re means again, gelation, gelling together, putting together. So what is that phenomenon? The phenomenon in which the ice converts to the liquid due to the applied pressure. How pressure is applied here? Due to that weights, the pressure is applied and then reconverts to ice once the pressure is removed, is called regelation. What is actually the regelation? Here the melting point of ice, this is ice, it becomes lower than 0 degree Celsius due to the applied pressure. So this means at 0 degree Celsius the ice gets converted into water. As soon as the pressure is removed, the melting point is restored to 0 degree Celsius and water gets converted into ice again, due to which the ice slab does not break. And this phenomenon in day-to-day life, if you want to see, I have given you a very good example of ice ball. You have seen very clearly, he shreds the pieces of ice from the main ice slab and then again he tries to pressurize it around the surface of the tip to form that ice ball. That is nothing but a very simple example of regelation in your day-to-day life. In simple terms, if you want to know more about regelation, it is the phenomenon of ice melting due to the pressure and refreezing when the pressure is reduced or removed. I hope you have understood. This activity and this topic is very important from the board examination point of view. They can provide you with this entire activity and then they will ask you what phenomenon takes place, how the ice slab does not break, define that phenomenon and explain the phenomenon. So all this is your explanatory part. In your own words you can explain it. Now our next topic is anomalous behavior of water. We will just get ourselves introduced with this topic and in details about the anomalous behavior with the help of Hope's apparatus we will study in our next session. What is anomalous behavior of water? In general, you know, whenever any liquid is heated up to a certain temperature, it expands, and when cooled, it contracts. This is our general, you can say, generally which is observed. Water, if you see, it shows a special and exceptional behavior. If you heat water from 0 degree Celsius up to 4 degree Celsius, it contracts instead of expanding. What should be generally observed? That when you heat any liquid, it expands and then when it is cooled, it contracts. But water, when you heat from 0 degree to 4 degree, it contracts instead of expanding. And at 4 degree Celsius, its volume is minimum due to contraction. If the water is heated further, it expands and its volume increases. And this behavior of water between its temperature from 0 degree Celsius to 4 degree Celsius, that is, it contracts instead of expanding, that behavior of water is called anomalous behavior of water. Something different, a behavior which is not experienced by other liquids, which is shown only by water. So if 1 kg of water is heated from 0 degree Celsius and its volume is plotted as a function of temperature, then you get a graph. You can see here in this figure, at 4 degree Celsius, the volume of water is minimum. It means that the density of water is maximum at 4 degree Celsius. Now this anomalous behavior of water by using Hope's apparatus, how you can study that we will see in our next session. So before you attend our next session on Monday, I will just request you to go through the topics of anomalous behavior, and ahead in this chapter you have different small definitions related to heat, dew point, humidity, all that terms you just go through. Thank you, dear children.